So we'll just give it a second for the room to settle. We thought we would actually start by playing a short video.
Zoetis means keeping animals healthy.
Coming to a job every day that has real purpose.
Where we are all rowing in the same direction.
An inclusive place to work.
Zoetis means work-life balance.
Endless opportunities with room for me to grow.
Zoetis means something a little bit different to all of us. At our core, our shared purpose is to nurture our world and humankind by advancing care for animals. And that is what unites us. But just as important are the individual whats and whys of our thousands of colleagues globally. That is who we are. Whether we're in the lab, on the farm, in the warehouse, or one of our offices across the world, together we explore and deliver innovations across the continuum of animal care to predict, prevent, detect, and treat disease. We help veterinarians provide the best care to animals. We help farmers raise livestock to support our healthy food supply chain. We help pets live longer, stronger lives with the people who love them. And along the way, we help each other by creating a workplace that is rooted in humanity. We value support, connection, and community. And whether you're motivated by a love for animals, the greater good, a job, or a career, your purpose strengthens ours.
Zoetis means that I can be my authentic self at work every day.
I package finished tablets that get sent around the world.
I'm the last set of eyes that see the product before they reach the customer.
I'm a formulation scientist and an avid motorcycle rider.
I'm a QC data reviewer and a competitive runner.
I am a curriculum designer and an avid reader.
I'm a lawyer and mother of 2 children and 1 bunny.
I'm an executive assistant and an amateur interior designer.
I'm a marketing manager and a karaoke singer.
I'm a researcher and a father.
Zoetis is the world leader in animal health. Good for animals, good for the world, good for you.
All right, very inspiring. Curious, just in this room, how many of you have pets? All right, vast majority. Well, chances are that your pet has used a Zoetis product at some point in their life. By way of introduction, my name is Vikram Aggarwal. I'm a managing director and partner with the Boston Consulting Group. I'm also a senior leader in our healthcare practice, and I lead our medical devices sector globally on behalf of BCG. I've also had the distinct pleasure and honor of working with Zoetis, which is the #1 animal health company, as you all just saw, for the past 6 years, including helping to shape their digital and analytics strategy. I'm pleased to share the stage here with Krishna Cheriath, who is the head of data and digital data and analytics at Zoetis, where he leads teams around data science, AI, data and digital platforms, and digital upskilling as well. Krishna is also an adjunct professor at Carnegie Mellon and Rutgers Business School, where he teaches executive courses on digital strategy. And prior to joining Zoetis, he was also in human health of biopharma, where he was the chief data officer at Bristol Myers Squibb. So I'll be moderating the discussion up here with Krishna, and I do have some ChatGPT generated questions to make my life easier. But we also want to encourage discussion and questions from the audience. So for those of you with your phones, feel free to scan the QR code on the screen right now. That will basically open up a tab to Slido, where you're able to then enter your questions, and we'll actually see some of the questions coming up on the screen live. So I will try to draw upon some of those as well for the session today. Excellent. So maybe, Krishna, I'll get started. So I've been amazed by your career path and the various data and digital roles that you've held. I'm curious, after such a long career in human biopharma at BMS, what drew you to Zoetis and animal health more specifically?
Yeah, I think I should start with a caveat that I'm a vegetarian and not a pet owner. So animal health was not an obvious career choice. So I was working as a chief data officer at Bristol Myers Squibb, very happy. We had recently acquired Celgene, and we were going through the integration journey when one of the leaders I really respect reached out to me through LinkedIn. So LinkedIn networking do really work to say, hey, we at Zoetis are at the cusp of a digital transformation journey. Would you want to come over and join us? So I've never thought of animal health. My career has been in the intersection of human health and digital data and analytics. But I was curious. The opportunity to come in at the ground floor of a digital transformation journey, build capabilities up, build talent up, build a strategy was a really intriguing option. But honestly, my final interview was with our CEO, Kristen Peck. It was on a Tuesday afternoon. I went into that interview thinking that I'm going to decline the offer. So that gives you some courage to ask some dumb questions. So I asked her 2 questions, and she knows the story. I keep telling the story. I said, hey, every CEO worth their salt talks about digital data and analytics these days. How do I know Zoetis means business? And second, how do I know that you're going to invest behind this? It's not just an idea. So she walked me through why leading in digital data and analytics is one of the top 5 priorities of the company. And then she walked through the level of investment that the company is willing to make behind it. And then she closed it with saying, hey, I'm going to prove to you that we mean business. So this was a Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, I had a verbal offer. Thursday, I had a return offer. So here I am. So, just a little bit of my background. I was born into a family of physicians. My father is a general surgeon, my mother a gynecologist, brother is a practicing cardiologist, and my sister in a dermatology practice. I was the black sheep of the family that went into electrical engineering, but healthcare was in my DNA. So I was bound to come back to healthcare somehow and spend a career in human health and now in animal health, and it's been an amazing journey.
That's great to hear. I have the same family connection. My sister went into medicine. I went into engineering. My mom still asks me to this day whether she should throw out my sister's MCAT books or do I plan on applying to medical school. So it doesn't die. So obviously many in the audience have pets, but I'm not sure that many people think of animal health as an industry that is ripe for digital disruption. Yeah. I'm curious if you can share some insights around what are some digital innovations that are happening in animal health today, and also in veterinary medicine more broadly.
Yeah, I think when you think about the healthcare space in general, it is going through significant digital acceleration. I mean, historically, when you look at all the industries, healthcare was considered a laggard when it comes to digital progression. I would argue that's no more the case. So just like there are some trends that are very similar to trends that you see in human health. So for example, looking at our R&D, all of you know that it takes significant amount of investment and timeline to bring new medical innovation to the market. So if you are able to use AI, analytics, data, and digital innovation to be able to accelerate early research or optimize clinical development, these are kind of huge impacts to our customers, our patients, as well as to the shareholders and the company itself. So that is one trend line. So there is a lot of data-driven innovation that is happening to accelerate R&D. Second thread is around customer engagement. I mean, just like every other industry, healthcare is also going through a significant transformation as far as how to engage with customers. Digital has become a base expectation these days. So when you engage with customers, pet owners, and others, they expect that you have a certain level of digital presence, that you're able to meet them where they want to be met. And then when we think about medical innovations that are AI-driven, in animal health, we were the first to market with an AI disease detection. It is called Imagist. So we have an AI-driven disease detection platform as a part of our diagnostics business that is augmented by pathologists and the staff that helps veterinarians make accelerated care decisions in the marketplace. So when we think within our company around the power and potential of digital and analytics, we think in terms of how can we accelerate our core book of business, right? At the heart of our company, we remain a company that is innovation-driven, scientific innovation-driven. So how can we help our R&D accelerate outcomes, accelerate research, accelerate clinical development, and then also how can we optimize customer experience and how can we unlock colleague productivity? Within our company, we like to use the term colleagues instead of employees, and we've been really focused on colleague productivity. Second angle is how can we optimize the digital product offerings to our customers. So I talked about Imagist, which is an AI-driven disease detection. One of the projects that I work on with many colleagues is focused around the dairy segment. So we bring in data at scale from dairy. We couple that with our internal proprietary data and algorithms, and then provide health outcomes related analysis back to the dairy farmers that help them make the right decisions as far as treatment is concerned. So when we think about digital innovation, on one angle, we think about how can it help our core book of business? How can we unlock productivity? How can we improve top line and bottom line? Second is, how do we think about new digital offerings to augment our medicines, vaccines, and diagnostics?
So there's actually there's a question in the Slido chat which builds upon that a little bit. So you talked about the digital experience for customers. The question here is, how do you enhance the user experience of the digital tools that they use on a daily basis, both for your colleagues, I guess, as well as for customers? So how do you combine design with AI to improve the usability of the software?
Yeah, I think if you're connected to me on LinkedIn 3 days ago, I did a post on this topic. It was a bit of a rant, to be honest with you. The idea was a call to action on enterprise user experience design. Right? I think if you look at most of the digital footprint of most companies, whether it is technology, analytics, AI, most of the companies invest in state-of-the-art systems and technology. You may have an SAP, you may have a Salesforce.com, you may have Workday, you may have other business intelligence tools, etc. But the one thing you never do, or one thing we all never do, is focus on user at center, right? Some of the biggest programs that have been successful for us, we have a flagship program that BCG was a partner with us on this, called the Next Generation Sales Engine. It is a predictive analytics focused on our sales reps. How can we give actionable insights of the decisions that matter for the sales reps to give them the next best action? It is a hugely successful program. Our CEO has talked about it in investor conferences. I would attribute 60% of the success of that program, not to the math, not to the technology, not to the data, but the focus on the user experience. Now, when you think about sales reps, these are folks who've been 15, 20 years of experience in the field. They know customers, sometimes generations of customers. So how do you ensure that you meet them where they do their work, right? So we did a day in the life studies. We looked at their user experience journey, just like you do customer experience journeys. We designed user experiences wrapper around our analytics so that it makes the interaction with the tech easier. Right? And these are important in really unlocking value from it. So if you're involved in analytics that is internally focused, I would argue that user experience and change management should not be the last slide in a PowerPoint deck that you put together. Move it to the front. You have to kind of design, you have to have user experience by design from the get-go. If you're not conducting end user studies, you're going to miss the boat. If you don't do user experience journeys and then look at how do you wrap the fantastic algorithm or the large language model that you're going to work on or the technology with the right user experience that meet them, you're going to miss the boat. And one of the great books that I read this year is a book called Decisions Over Decimals. And that book really talks about the fact that you really need to think through the human at the other end of the equation. And especially when we are talking Gen AI and AI augmented tools, we use the tagline within the company that AI will not replace humans, but humans using AI will. And that's how do you help the human be comfortable with AI and then fit to the user experience is an important point. Great question. Whoever asked the question.
Yeah. I'm going to build off that Gen AI topic because that's obviously something that is super top of mind for everyone. BCG recently ran a global study with executives, and 50% of executives responded to say that they would actively discourage the use of Gen AI and ChatGPT within their organizations because of the potential risk. I'm curious whether you're surprised to hear that. How is Zoetis approaching Gen AI? Do you see it as a source of competitive advantage, or do you see it as a source of risk to be managed?
Yeah, I take a counter view, right? So when you look at AI, you see AI optimists, the Bill Gates, Mark Andreessens of the world who say AI will change the world. Then you have AI pessimists. And recently you may have seen the open letter that was written by many researchers and others asking for a pause in AI development, especially LLM development. Perhaps nobody is more of an intriguing pessimist like Jeff Hinton, who many consider to be the godfather of AI, who wrote a New York Times piece arguing for how we need to really think carefully about the AI-led disruption. So be that as may, I consider myself an AI realist. And my thinking, and when this generative AI topic first started in our company, and we had the same debate, how do we think about it? We took a point of view that at some point, this is going to become as ubiquitous as Google search, right? You're not going to prevent people from searching, but you need to help the workforce think through how to do it responsibly, right? So, there are some of the talented members of my team are in the audience. So one of the colleagues in my team developed, so we were thinking about how best to talk about this through to our executive audience. So what we did was we developed a AI version of me, right? So he used the publicly available YouTube videos and images and audio. It was scary how it got even my Indian American accent right. And we created a Krishna.ai. And then when we talked to our C-suite, we said we would like to introduce a new member of our team, Krishna.ai. And then it really kind of brought to life the power and potential as well as the risk and downsides of this. But then what we did was we created a quick start guide, right? So how do we, I can talk till cows come home about generative AI and pun intended. But people are not going to get it till you try it, right? You got to try ChatGPT to know what are the potential and limitations. You got to try DALL-E to know what are the potential and limitations. So we did a quick start guide. We have an internal digital fluency platform within Zoetis, which is kind of designed to be a TikTok, YouTube style video where we post videos and analytics, data and topics. So we posted this quick start guide and it has been one of the most subscribed articles within that. So we took the point of view that this is going to be pervasive. And to your question on competitive advantage, the way I think about it is at some point, this is going to become the cost of doing business, right? So if you think of when e-commerce first came into being, it was a competitive advantage for some time, but now we expect everybody to have that. But what is the competitive advantage is your unique data, your unique algorithms, and your products and services. And how do you think about that is going to be the name of the game in the generative AI space.
I couldn't have said it better. And I think we very much prescribe to that same philosophy at BCG, right? Like you have to actively encourage the use with appropriate controls, but employees will find a way to use these tools regardless, right? If you block it on the intranet or your local networks, people will still use their phone, right? So you want to encourage it, but encourage it within some boundaries as well. The data question is an interesting one. In fact, there's another question here in the chat here around how do you think about augmenting your own proprietary data with external data sources? And the specific question here is around omics data for drug discovery, and what role does that play in discovering new treatments? Yeah,
and I think this augmenting of data and having a data as a beachhead is an age-old question, and that's part of our R&D. I think what this Gen AI transformation is putting a premium on us, how do you make sure that your data is analysis ready and is usable? So, never let a problem go to waste or an opportunity go to waste. So within our company, we are making a big argument around to making sure that our priority data assets, we're getting the data labeling right, the data quality right, so that we can use it for AI models. So yeah, data strategy is going to be crucial for an AI augmentation strategy.
Right. You mentioned digital upskilling and digital fluency. I find that often is a challenge in organizations, particularly at the executive level, in terms of, yes, they talk about data, but they think about it as a currency. How do you translate that to insights? I'm curious, what steps have you taken to help increase the overall, call it digital literacy, over the organization, particularly at the executive levels?
Yeah, and I think when you think about our Gen AI program, we think about it in 4 dimensions. There is the value cases. So we as a company, we are a mid-sized company, we have finite resources, we have to really focus on the big questions that matter. So we cannot do 1,000 flowers bloom kind of an approach. So we identified 7 priority use cases, 3 in R&D, 4 in commercial. That is going to be the focus of our efforts in the next couple of years. Second is capabilities. We need the data platforms. We need the talent. We have built a very strong analytics and data science talent in animal health. So if any of you are interested in being part of a data science in animal health, let us know. Doors are open. And we think we are an industry leader in that. And then we built an AI governance council, because there are a lot of questions in AI that you cannot go through a checklist and then get the risk side of it. You really need to think through from what does it do to your brand reputation? Should you do it? Should you not do it? So we created an AI governance council and a policy. Final element is this digital fluency. So we think of upskilling as a digital fluency. And the approach that we think of is what digital fluency means for a research scientist is different from what it means for a demand manager or somebody in HR, somebody in finance. And one of my pet peeve is how enterprise training or corporate training has devolved into something that all of us hate. We all have enterprise training. All we do is click enter, and then finally I hit I agree or answer the questions. That just won't cut it. So we really need to figure out a way of how do we contextualize it so that it makes sense for a research scientist. So that's what we are thinking of.
That sounds great. And I'm particularly, I remember you sharing an anecdote with me how you even had the CEO develop a mobile app as a way to actually increase her own digital literacy. I think that's fantastic. This whole reverse mentoring type elements to it as well. Excellent. So I think we're coming up on time. I have one last question from the group that I wanted to pose to you, and maybe we can combine that with some final thoughts as well. How do you balance pet or animal wellness with what motivates companies and organizations, and that's around profits? And has AI changed that calculus in any way?
No, I think at the core of our company, we see an alignment of interest and alignment value. A healthier pet and a healthier animal population and a sustainability progression aligns with what is good for us as a company, what is good for our colleagues, as well as for our shareholders. So I believe I work for a company where there is a significant value alignment between what is best for our customers and this. I think what AI has done is to give an acceleration potential to it. We have a significant opportunity to accelerate our early research. We have a significant opportunity to optimize clinical development and bring medicines to the market faster. And we have a significant opportunity to reshape what working in Zoetis means. And that's what we are focused on.
Excellent. Krishna, any final parting thoughts that you might share with the group here around both Zoetis as an organization, animal health as an industry, or your approach to innovative digital solutions? Again, many of the folks in this audience, I'm sure, are living this day to day, but what stands out in your opinion?
From my personal perspective, one is a personal call to action. You have to invest your own personal digital fluency. Second, if you're working in the space of generative AI, my encouragement is to lean in with humility. There is a lot we don't know. We are still in Act 1 of a multi-part journey, but you need to be part of the game. You need to try it, you need to experiment with it, but you need to have the right structures within the organizations. But invest in your own personal digital fluency, lean in with humility would be my final message.
Excellent. And just from my vantage point, again, having worked with many different clients across healthcare, it is truly heartening to see the way that Zoetis has really approached data and digital. You mentioned the fact that it is not just something you give lip service to, it is one of your 6 strategic priorities. It is completely embedded in everything that you do from a customer product perspective to the internal operations perspective. And it's truly remarkable to see the progress that you've made, and you've been a critical part of that as well. So thank you for joining me on the stage. Thank you, the audience, as well, for the questions that you posed. Krishna, obviously, you're going to be around for the rest of the day if people want to find you separately as well. And I'm also happy to talk more about my own experiences within data and digital. Great. Thank you very much.
Have a great conference.